Welcome back to the Intel Esports Arena in Burbank, California, where more importantly than that, I'm at the Xfinity Analyst Desk. And that's right, I'm standing beside two of my friends, colleagues. I mean, I've called you guys much worse, so we'll just go with that for the time being. We'll keep it there. Look, guys, we're going into train right now between CLG and Immortals. We just saw them face off on Cobblestone. How are we feeling going into this matchup?
I'm feeling that CLG's organization is kind of like the trump card for them, right? Immortals has that, you know, nebulous concept of skill, right? And they don't really have the organization because they've changed so many people on the roster, and I think that's the trump card.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, the lack of Opera for Immortals is going to make the defense tough here on Train. I'm curious to see if someone's just going to pick it up. And like I said before, there's that kind of effect sometimes when you go loosey-goosey that can kind of throw teams, you know, for whatever you call it. They kind of throw a wrench in their gears, so to speak. So maybe one of these Immortals guys will pick up the op and get some aggressive Brown Hall or aggressive mid, aggressive Ivy, maybe get some weird kills. With pistol rounds, that could turn into a decent CT half for Immortals. Without pistols, if they don't have any opper, they could be on their back feet the whole half, and it could be another easy game for CLG.
Yeah, if Shiz, Destiny, Steeler, Bolts are not willing to pick up the op, I feel like it's an option for Zach to do it, right? Because opping is kind of one of those things that's a little easier, so to speak. Like, sure, it's not easy to be insanely good at it, but it's easier to be mediocre.
Yeah, you probably get away with holding a couple of peoples here.
Exactly.
And then there's no telling also, you know, were Immortals able to formulate some sort of game plan over on Cobble that they can bring to Train. But either way, what is your guys' take on say a prediction for this matchup as we go into Train?
What did I initially say, 16-9? I think I said CLG on this map. Did you go double 16-9?
I didn't say anything about the second map, but I think it's going to be CLG, and I think it's going to be even worse, probably like 16-6. Well,
Jordan, you've already stated that it's going to be a 1-1. So there's a chance.
There's a chance, and Pistols could have a place, but you know, either team's gonna win, so we'll find out.
One team will win, that's guaranteed. But you know what? The real winner is the winner of this Betway odd. Let's go ahead and take a look at it now and see where these two teams fall. And it's really not super landslide looking here.
Oh, I mean, it was closer before, right? It's shifted a little bit, and it's definitely in agreement with me. So I think people are starting to realize that I'm kind of like the oracle of wisdom in terms of, no, I'm just kidding. Definitely don't really know. Nobody knows what's going to happen, but I think those odds are pretty appropriate.
You bring the wisdom, he brings the headshots, and I'll just stand here and talk.
You bring the good looks and the good voice.
Questionable. It depends what day of the week it is, I guess.
Well, I'm telling you the truth.
Well, anyways, I'm not telling truth anything, first of all. We're not telling it, no. We're going to go ahead and bring in our commentators now who, you know, I think they're ready to get into this one. You guys ready for some Train?
Hell yeah. Yes.
Whoa. You getting irritable over there? Is it warm over in that studio? Our studio's cool.
No, yeah. Way
I'm
over
feeling
here,
breezy.
it's like, yeah, I think you guys have the AC is the problem.
Yeah.
Did you just say you people?
Look.
What do you mean?
Anyway, before this, anyway, look, I'm going to just give it to you guys. We're going to get out of here.
Have fun.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Sonny. Yeah, it is almost time to jump into Train here now, which is probably going to end up a little bit rougher for Immortals, right? Just because it's a more like team-intensive map, and obviously this team has been together for a very short period of time. Yeah. So in terms of strategy and whatnot, it's probably going to end up even worse than what we saw on Cobblestone.
Yeah, it's really easy to bully opponents who are not prepared to play the map because there's so much coordination required that like CT side is not a cakewalk anymore. You know, CT side is where there's like a bunch of viable spots, but not all of them are viable in every situation. And so you always have to think about where your teammate is standing, how much you can help them, how used you are to how used you are to playing with them. And
struggle there. You got that out.
Yeah, and there's like a variety of setups that are like questionable, even when teams are good at the map that they use. So tough map to play. Tough map. Yeah.
And with CLG obviously showing up in the last matchup there, just seeing the individuals come out to shine as well that we saw yesterday, it certainly doesn't lend any hopes to Immortals to be able to upset here now and be able to at least trade this 1-1 to keep their record high, keep them, you know, in the running for the top 6 as they kind of look to reestablish themselves in the middle of the season, which is probably the worst time for all this drama to go down to. When they're in a good spot, they're kind of like leading the league or trying to remain in that top 6, and to have the roster kind of fall apart mid-season is probably one of the worst things that can happen, as they do still need to actively play in these games.
Yeah, I don't think they also have the motivation to like win quite as much altogether. So I don't want to call into question like how much they want to win on an individual basis, but like the expectations, they've got to manage their expectations, and I think that might give them an out mentally as like when they're losing rounds, like nobody should get too mad because we weren't expected to win. We throw together last minute, we're trying to do the best possible thing we can do, but no, there's only so much we can do. And as soon as CLG start like pouring on these really nice rounds and these tough to tough to fight against defaults and stuff like that, it's going to become, I think, more apparent that Immortals are going to have a hard time. But famously, all these players can play the map. So here we have a very brave T-Con push that is going to be rewarded with a lot of information. And will he look for the headshot? Can he finish it?
Yeah, he eventually gets the headshot. Just takes him a minute. As he is able to move in there, taking out Ricky, knocking him out of the running. He's going to go back, looking for a second one here now is Kusta. He's been really good at trading his out on pistol rounds before. This time, though, might be asking for a bit too much, and he's on T side too, so the Glock is not going to be as forgiving as we have seen in the past here. SHZ did miss an opportunity to immediately go out and take down Ethan, but Ethan's still stuck in a bad position. So he's going to get knocked out here, and now all of a sudden just 3 remaining here for the T side, but they're pushing into a site, which is really undefended here. There's a good nade that goes back. It's a max damage almost there on the Cutler. So he's down to just 11 HP after being hit by that. Now they have to try and hold 3v5 Kusta. It's going to be a little bit creative with his positioning, but he has been spotted as he rolls in. He'll get 1 kill on SHZ, but traded out just seconds later, and everything's down to FNS now. He's not going to last very long either. Immortals with a very, very clean pistol round. In fact, they get a team ace on it as well. They'll start off with a lead here.
Always nice to get that team ace on top of the defuse and the round 4 alive. Pretty good. They didn't actually have a kit, I don't think, that round. But one interesting thing they did was have Steel, when he pushed into T-Con and saw that first frag, that he took the kill right away instead of going for more information. Now, that is sometimes it's a double-edged sword to get the kill, and you think the reverse is true a lot of the times, because you see teams will get that information, and when they don't get spotted, will continue to go for more. Well, the problem is that if you don't get that kill, sometimes you can either just fall behind on an execute, even though you share that information, or you get pushed, or someone comes back and catches you off guard, and then you get nothing at all.
Bolts getting himself into this fight very quickly, and also dispatching most of CLG very quickly here too. 3 kills. He knows that there's a 4th around the corner here. Decides not to pressure it since he has the bomb sitting right underneath him here. We'll eventually be looking to the steps where he spots him out again, but he's also going to get pushed out of ammo, but it doesn't matter. A quick switch over to the USP nets him his 4th kill, and he might as well at least attempt the ace here as he pushes up, takes him down, and there you go. Bolts shutting it down in the 2nd round.
It's like if your frag movie is 4 minutes long, you want to have at least 3 eco aces that you throw in there. That was a solid one. There's no reason why you shouldn't put it in there. It's like you pad your stats a little bit. A lot of good economy for the team, for your team. You denied a plant, which is huge. A lot of good to be said, and then you can also throw in the frag movie. The frags are pretty close together. It's not that bad looking.
Yeah, nicely done from him. And so that denies any chance of CLG of trying to get that 2nd plant, but regardless, they are going to buy into this 3rd round just with very, very limited utility. It is primarily just going to be a couple smokes, flashbangs, and that'll be it. Sitting behind their AK armor buys. And they'll be relying primarily on those AKs in order to get themselves into the site and put together some sort of a round here. As they started off, just a default split, however, nothing fantastic going on, nothing crazy in terms of the T-side split. Just playing it pretty default here.
Really curious if Immortals are going to try to op on the map. Right now, we can see that they were in a good place, so they didn't decide to upgrade everything they had, and that's going to allow CLG to take advantage of Ivy. I don't know if they're going up because of this fact, but it's going to work out in their favor, I think. There's Zach, who's trying to do as much as he can. Wow, somehow that bounces off of nothing and comes back to him, but it still does its job.
The Molly does indeed, as you said, isolate things for a little bit, but it does also sound the alarms to what exactly is going on as they push back in. Destiny will go 1 for 1. SHZ looks away just a little bit too soon there, so both teams trade out evenly to start off. But with Ethan finding this additional entry onto Bolts, it opens up a whole new opportunity for CLG to clear things out. Now, Immortals are still on the move, still partially in the site too, as we do have Steel sitting behind the old bomb tunnel. And Zach coming down ladder there, so they still have quite a bit of presence to play with, but Steel overstays his welcome on that peak, and Zach as well instantly goes down on his. Cutler shuts it out for CLG, and now they're on the board.
Everyone looking very sharp, not peeking as more than they need to, getting their kills one at a time, and taking Ivy control, and that being very effective because they were able to trade out favorably, even though the hold was not bad overall. The nades were used kind of on time. It just ended up being the right spot to go to, and because I think Immortals seem to have some money left over, but they still haven't bought in op. Why do they have 2 UMPs as well? How bad was their money? It seemed like they had extra on almost everybody.
You would think, right? Apparently not, so they're going to be very limited.
Can we take a look at the money again? Just really quickly. Getting ignored feels bad, man.
So, yeah.
Damn it, cunts.
It's effort too. You gotta wait. So what did they just type? They just typed
the question hits with the question mark. Oh, they don't have money. Okay, thank you.
Oh, okay. There we go.
I wasn't shouting profanity, by the way. That's his last name.
No, it actually is.
Yeah, so I want to clarify that.
It's just German, so he always oftentimes gets skewed in the pronunciation. But as we do get back to the action here, CLG will get ready to, I believe, enter. No, it's actually probably going to be that default again. It's a little bit heavy towards the ladder room this time. I noticed that the bomb, well, they might go enter now as they have found the kill onto Zach. And the bomb is going to join them up here too. But dropping in the ladder. Oh, and Cutler, some nice moves there. Jumping off the ladder. He's able to take down Destiny, bust it out onto the side. Unfortunately, the Molly does too much damage, so Steel is going to be able to take him down. Just barely, though. Steel only just survives the encounter with 24 HP. Bolts now sits on the backside behind Z, trying to do some sort of damage, but he too getting lit up so much. Both these guys just going to fall back and save. There's no hope to clutch this out. They're going to let CLG tie the game up here now too. Yeah,
that was a very dry default. It seems like strategy isn't the only problem for Immortals going into this game, because CLG's aims look super sharp, and because two players are very low right now, they can't attempt this retake, even though it is just the B site, a very manageable circumstance when you have the health to do it. But also run the risk of dying here. Ethan also running out very quickly to try to catch them before they got comfortable in Ivy, and after sharing that information, I think maybe CLG might dip their toes in further, but yeah, it's gonna be tough to kill them from this point on.
FNS at the moment just very, very carefully sneaking over here. Not going to actually venture down the steps, but more so just hiding out in the event that the CTs try to push up for those kills, and they won't be even getting close since they're as low as they are. Just 1 or 2 bullets were needed to take them down, but Ethan at the very least was not able to push back out there and succeed in getting those kills. So both teams will survive with 2 players there, but CLG wins the round and keeps themselves in better straits going into this next one here, as Immortals will be completely broken besides those 2 saves. And as you can see, she's going to be Destiny on a P250, and that's pretty much it. That's all this team brings to the table for this round.
Yeah, there's a couple of different philosophies you can follow to try to make the most of these M4s, and that's either you put those M4s up front and have them get traded out, or try to get some damage in. And here they actually decided to stack the wrong site, so a fast B-rush ends up being the appropriate response to probably a read on what they felt like Immortals were going to do.
Quick plank goes in here too, and while we do see Immortals trying to quickly wrap back in to retake this site, or at least get some damage going, we already have CLG pushed so far up that it's going to be extremely difficult to accomplish any of that. Nade goes right into the face of one of these players too, so Destiny will get wrecked by that. Ethan finishes off the job with the actual kill, and for SHZ, he does still have that M4, so probably going to want to look to back away and save, which is hiding out in CT in case anyone from CLG tried to push him, but not going to be happening. He will safely fall away outside of Ivy, make sure that he carries that rifle into the next round.
Yeah, what more is there to say? Whoever decided that B was the right side to go to was completely correct, and for also picking the speed at which they hit it. The site was wide open, so the fact that they decided to go B but also quickly, I think maybe they thought Immortals like to play outside on anti-ecos and decided to call them out. It's always a good thing to do. People don't really stack inner that much, and it's mostly because like teams will like to default and work outer slowly most of the time because they feel like it's safe. But also there aren't that many places on B where you can sit like with your team who have pistols, apart from a couple like schools and then like right in between the bomb train and Pop Dog.
And so into this next gun round we will go. Immortals back into the swing of things with a full buy to work with this time, and very aggressively pushing up Ivy as well. Destiny going to go on top of the server. His Cutler suspect that he's not going to be able to spot his opponent there just yet, but Destiny can't see him either. He has a smoke of his own ready to toss back in, though. That might give something away. Regardless, it looks like Destiny gets cold feet there at the last second, so he does back away behind the smoke, gets himself out of there, and saves for another day. And they actually throw out, I think, another HE grenade, which does some pretty decent damage. Cutler getting hit down to 56, and Ricky down at 86 now.
I love this. I love the fight at Ivy from both sides. There's good grenades being expelled. There's CLG having to earn their way up Ivy, Immortals putting just enough in and doing some early damage so that even when CLG are able to take Ivy, which is always inevitable unless you get those kills luckily earlier in the round, that they can't just simply hit the site with 100 HP and a full set of grenades. So I like this from both sides.
Now CLG will get ready to move out, go for the execute here. Ethan first up to bat as he pushes forward, finding Steel, taking him down. That's quick elimination to give CLG a platform to work off of here now, but they still need to actually bargain themselves away into the site here. That's where Immortals would hopefully strike back, as indeed they are. They're going to push in, get 2 kills in their own regard. Kusta chimes in for another, as does FNS. So CLG continue to press forward with their own frags, keeping them in this round, but time getting a little bit low here. They do need to look for the plant relatively soon, as otherwise they're going to run out of time very, very quickly. And FNS almost losing himself there due to the position. I think it was from Zach that was peeking out there from E-Box, but Gonna be able to find him, and Kusta misses with a point-blank shot. They have them both pincered, but Zach holds on for 1 and 2, and now Ethan's gonna go and gets the first kill, tries to get the second, but Bolts recovers in time to trade it back and somehow give that round to the Immortals.
That is so gross. What just happened? That was really bad, man.
There's a lot of mistakes.
Zach was out. I was going to talk about the power of Ivy there. They had like the perfect split. They're pushing in at the exact right times. Here we can see the players in the back of bomb are so confused, looking left and right, and they still make the most of the madness. But like, how did FNS not get that kill? Zach was like out in the front of the bomb train looking at Ivy, which is perfect, and then FNS comes out T-Con, and we didn't actually see what happened, but he had like at least 2 seconds to like finish that frag. I don't know how CLG don't win there.
And now additional utility. As we go into the next round, he's already going to be deployed here towards Ivy with the T's trying to get in there for a little bit of early control, but the CC's responding with their own nades to hold that back. Now, Immortals are going to be very, very light on utility across the board. CLG's actually just in a better spot, economically speaking. As you can see, the last really big bit of utility already being used here for the Immortals. They just have flashbangs remaining on SHZ. Thankfully, it is on SHZ himself, who sits closer to Ivy. He's able to quickly wrap around after deploying that molly to get into a better position and get ready for this impending push. I think the guys on Immortals know exactly what's happening, though. They're set up to defend exactly against this. And as CLG move in, they're going to be in for a fight as they try to push towards this. 1-for-1 to start. Destiny brings it back, but Ethan also trades that kill out, so keeps it into a 3v3. FNS nicely done as he finds Steel there before he's able to upset him from E-Box. And now it just leaves Bolts and Zach in the fight. With Bolts trying to push himself out into the open, Zach actually drops down, gets the kill in FNS, leaving it down to another even 2v2 here with Bolts holding on his own regard, but he goes down to Ethan. Zach coming out to save the day again, though, as he trades another very important kill, bringing this down to a 1v1. He is going to wait for Ethan to push up to the site, going for this plant, but now he starts to move forward on his own regard too. Ethan will use this as a chance to get away, though, as he sluice over here to the B-bomb site, and we'll have a free plant here. Yeah,
one of the only times you actually want to evacuate a site is just like if you have the opportunity to get the other one really quickly. It's a rare circumstance, but happens on train more often than any other map. And here Ethan's moving to the back lanes. Might have to take this fight early as Zach comes and peeks him, but gets the kill as Zach, has to assume that the bomb could be anywhere. We'll probably first assume it's default. Maybe could have taken a little bit more time to clear stuff out. Maybe thought Ethan wasn't going to be in line of sight that quickly, but that's just the 1v1 game. That's what's nice for Ethan, because if he planted back a bomb outside, he definitely gets the plant for sure. But from there, where does he go? As you hear when the bomb goes down, you know exactly where that person is, and then you cut off one of their sides, and they only have so many places to do. So overall, well played.
And now as we see the push coming out from CLG, moving forward here, SHZ is going to try to hold things up close. So will Bolts there, but they get close to getting a couple kills. In fact, SHZ and Destiny managed to sneak out 2 kills in their own regard, but still 3 other kills traded back against their favor. They lose Steel, they lose SHZ, they lose Bolts. And the final 2 that are alive now are just stuck behind bomb train. Kusta should have been able to spot one of them sitting behind the box on the train itself, and there we go. Destiny goes down. Zach follows it up right afterwards, and it's a clean shutdown from CLG there as they claim their 5th round.
Sometimes it's also good as an intangible to take rounds quickly just for the sake of your confidence, and also demoralizing the other team. So there's an argument there to be made that even if you waste an extra like 1 or 2 people, that because you show them your dominance, you asserted yourself onto a site, and you weren't afraid of like taking all these duels, that the other team just feels like they got crushed. And also, sometimes it works out really well. You don't lose anybody. But most importantly, as long as you're together, you have a great chance to win. Stack at Ivy, though.
We do see the spam pretty much melting most of the Immortals roster. They trade 1 kill. Oh, down 2 actually. Steel just doing work there with the USP. He's able to find both Color and Kusta, but the kills boil right back into CLG's favor. At the very least, Immortals able to do some damage there, keep the money a bit lower, but CLG does have the lead now, 6-3.
We haven't seen an op from Immortals yet, right?
No, I don't think we have.
I don't think we have either. So yeah, that's been one thing. They might not have ever, they might not even think that they want to op. I'm not sure. There isn't anyone that they've had, I think, that they wanted to do it with, and also they haven't had the money to supplement that easily. So here they're going into a round with absolutely no kits. I think CLG should know after that double save that they're still going to be somewhat low, but beyond that, it's going to be a pretty standard set of affairs for CLG as they set up in a default bomb outside ladder, and I think they're going to smartly decide to try to bait out as much utility as possible, take the round out slowly, really put it on Immortals to try to do something aggressive to get an advantage.
It's going to be played much slower overall this time, as CLG knows they don't necessarily have an easy walkthrough this time. Immortals are going to be limited by utility. Same as the last big investment for them, to be completely honest here. So they're down to just 2 smokes already, just a couple seconds into the round. So if CLG can bait those into being used this early on, then they might just be able to push onto the site relatively easily. All they would have to do is look for those entry kills. But with this odd split that they've gone for, they have left a couple of holes open, and that's where Immortals have pushed in. As you can see, Destiny and his teammate here, Steel, both inside of T-Con, having control there. Flashbang going back out. And we're not going to see a push, however.
Yeah. The flash goes out, but no one's there to test it. And I think they just want to make presence. That might actually be a read for Immortals, who see this flash comes in, but no one to follow it up. Also, no further footsteps. So, but they have no reason to also like play any extra people in, or they've got 2 close up. These guys need to frag out. They're here to die, basically. So, and the other thing is, though, if they think it's going to be inner, they don't have any close rotates.
They push back in. Zach tries to hold it, but he immediately goes down. Bolts backs away, and he actually does get 1 kill before he backs into the corner and it gets taken down by Kusta through the wall there. But still, it's a small token. It's still a 4v3 here in the favor of CLG, as Immortals do try to quickly rotate over, but same as previously, they don't have any utility to retake this site with. No smokes, no mollies, no HE grenades, just flashbangs are really all they have. And unless they're going to be able to line those up perfectly, it's going to be very, very rough and basically just relying on the raw skill alone to do it. So they do realize it's pretty much impossible. They give it up, they fall back, and they let the round go into CLG's hands again.
So it's really tough to like be very analytical versus Immortals, who are clearly not going to be able to like be as coordinated as another team. But what went wrong there was, well, first of all, it was a mechanical failure on the front that they had 2 people close up inner, which means they're expected to go and get 2 kills apiece. Or, you know, ideally 1 player gets a kill. Ideally they both get 2 kills. In a realistic scenario, 1 gets 1 kill, 1 gets 2 kills because they have the advantage of CTs. But ultimately, they get 3 people in total, and then they die. Their teammates rotate in. The other problem was that they didn't have any fast rotates, and they also had information that they didn't act on. So they had 2 people pushed into T-Con, but nobody actually did anything in response to realizing that nobody was taking T-Con. They didn't call this flash out whatsoever. They just assumed that it was either going to be an outer hit, or I'm not sure what was going through their heads. But they had information. They may not have shared it, and their inner guys, I think, were in a worse situation because of it.
Well, at the very least, Immortals able to slowly round themselves up a bit more here as the losing bonus continues to stack too. They do find themselves a little bit better off on this round, but the guns also end up getting downgraded a little bit as a result of that too. So we have a FAMAS and the UMP in play, where we hadn't seen that previously, just 5 M4s before. CLG still working with the 5 AKs themselves, and we see another familiar push coming out from Immortals. We'd seen this before, but the 2-man play works its way over here instead of T-Con again, and FNS, he's actually going to challenge it this time, but obviously Immortals already being set up inside of there. It's an easy first frag for Destiny. Yeah,
there's a couple of mistakes right there. It's been very common to take T-Con control. Immortals didn't know that CLG have been taking T-Con control, or the other way around, excuse me, but the thing is that they've got to assume that teams are going to do it. Also, Immortals realize they've been able to get in there so easily that they've just been walking into T-Con, no flashes or anything. So there's no way for FNS to realize.
We do see Kusta getting that first trade at the very least, and it takes down Bolts too, so one of the core members of Immortals already being eliminated here. They at the very least have Ethan pinched, so they should have a relatively secure kill there. Unless Ethan's able to go off, but it just turns into a very odd split for CLG as they are going to try to push back out. Destiny once again shows up with a second frag for himself. Ricky kills SHZ, but then, as we saw before, Zach's going to be able to quickly drop back down, make sure that doesn't go any further. Kusta, though, lining up some bangers there as he's going to be able to take down Zach and Steel. And now it's only Destiny left alive in a 1v2 with just a single health point. And we'll see if he even makes an attempt at this.
What do you think?
It looks like he's going to go for it.
Do you think he's going to win, though?
No.
Whoa, savage.
I mean, yeah.
Okay.
There you go. Just spam it ramp and he's good to go.
Yeah, very, very low opportunity. No smoke or anything like that to help him get in. And yeah, this is really tragic because they did the right thing. First of all, nice shot from Kusta on Bolts, but here he is running. He's like running forward, and then he like crouches to stop and shoots again. And here he's running backwards, and he stops to shoot. That means Steel had like a big advantage. Steel came out wide. He's got the peeker's advantage of being more ready to take the fight than Kusta is. Kusta has to stop, hitting an awkward anti-strafe key, and then has to shoot. So, you know, just punching way above his weight right now.
And Immortals continue to apply their own aggression, but unfortunately in the wrong position as they do send their players out. But thankfully, Bolts on the site kind of saves the day, but they do give Ethan this massive lineup. They're not going to expect a third player there, but Ricky is able to trade that out, taking down SHZ, keeping the fight even as we very, very quickly find ourselves down to a 2v2. Zach, once again, aggressively pushes through the white halls. He's not going to go down the ladder this time, and Bolts caught in a long-range duel too, where he almost catches Kusta, but as a result of taking that fight, ends up extremely low at 17 HP.
Now that the dust has settled, Ricky with a smoke and both the players outside have to decide what choke point they want to plant for, where they want to use their smoke to section things off. Ricky hasn't actually thrown anything. It's just holding on to this, doesn't seem to anticipate the fake flank. Zach somehow gets the kill on Kustu, who's very well prepared, and all analysis is out the window because it just comes down to CTs on their first contact to getting the kills and them not turning into a 1v1 at all.
Yeah, so a pretty straightforward 2v2 for Immortals to be able to win back out there. Finally, they win another round after, I think, like 6 or 7 potentially straight from CLG here. And they managed to still hold the lead, 8-4, but Immortals with that win will look for an opportunity to get back into it. Of course, CLG is still going to be full bot. Kusta contemplating the op bot. He does decide to go for it, but that is pretty much going to empty out most of their money. The only one that has cash left over is Ricky. And after this round, we'll be looking at a very desperate buy from CLG if we assume that everybody ends up going down in this round.
Yeah, it could be desperate. And after winning so many rounds in a row, just as you mentioned, it's going to be it's kind of surprising that they have lost so much money. So Immortals have been doing good damage, even though it might not have seemed like it. And now with the default once again. However, even though in a future round they might not have a lot of money, here they are fully loaded up. Both teams can really play the long con and try to work on getting as much utility out as possible before going into doing anything. We know CLG have done this in the past where they have the money to do it, so they like to play these rounds out slowly as opposed to just like running out T-Con or something, which sometimes is a viable strategy, but you definitely appreciate when people play their advantages first as opposed to throw curveballs first.
And Ricky is going to be the one hunting over here towards Ivy. You have a 2-man setup here from Immortals to defend, and again, they went for a 3-man push in the last round, which I believe kind of worked. They didn't actually find anyone, so we didn't actually see presence from CLG outside of Ivy, but led into a duel, which they were able to trade a couple of kills from. Ethan, I believe it was, that was able to trade 2 of them back. Then ultimately still led to that being brought down to a 2v2 where Immortals were able to very cleanly close things out. FNS quickly pushing himself in, finds himself the duel, but it's actually Ethan that kills him. SHZ getting a double kill from sitting over here out in the open behind the trait. He's going to be able to take down Cutler and one more. And just like that, CLG's entire push has been completely decimated, just down to the hopper along with Ricky. Gonna sneak in from Ivy. Kusta at the very least finds that kill onto Zach. They still have a long, long way to go. Destiny also, I think, getting hit by the op on Kusta there, so he's brought down to 1 HP again. But Ricky is found out just before he's about to strike 2. Steel takes him down, leaves only Kusta alive, not for very long. SHZ will push in, seal the deal, and that'll be Immortals picking up a 5th.
Instead of working on the Ivy control, they decided to have a focus on going out T-Con first, which seems to be okay. That is truly tragic. Ethan, even though he could have also killed his teammate, but also gotten the trade, FNS was low. But even though he could have done that, Shiz's bullets were just a little bit stronger, maybe aimed a little bit better, and he gets all 3 kills basically. So that is that's nice. Or gets 2 kills and stays alive, I should say. Now that's 2 rounds in a row for Immortals. So CLG don't have the money to buy. They really messed up in that last round. So far have a pretty good T-half to look back on, however. So that won't be the end of the world for them. Flash to help them clear out inner. Actually goes a little wide, and Zach had the opportunity there to go for a kill. But it doesn't seem like he took the shot. Instead, falls back into B and all the way back into B. Versus an eco round with 5 smokes, this could not only mean a plant, it could actually spell trouble for Immortals, especially since they only have 1 Molotov.
CLG is going to try to throw it the other way at the very least, as Ricky doesn't even know what he wants to do there. Thinks he's going to go down, but then suddenly dives right back up to the top of that. But somehow survives the encounter with 16 HP. And now as they go in, Ricky is actually going to be able to get that kill on Steel. I'm not sure if he had to dive back down to get it, but Ethan sneaking right up, gets one for himself, dives into the smoke and behind it, reapplies it too, but still can't get away. It's going to be Kusta that dinks one more player, brings him low, will finish him off, but Destiny continues to be the only one that could trade kills so far for the Immortals, and now we have Ricky coming back in on Z. He believes he's expected, however, which is a smart thing to assume at this point, but as he does wrap in there, it doesn't really look like anyone is paying too close attention to his position, so he's going to walk right out, tap it a little bit to be able to take down SHZ, and now only Destiny survives, and he's a little lost. So he's looking for at least one angle to take down one of these players, but he can't find it, getting spammed away. It looks like Cutler's going to challenge him, and he'll take him down. CLG upset here on what was basically just a Tech 9 half-buy.
Yeah, there's a true test of team communication here and coordination. And Ricky, wait, so after he gets away, when does he get the kill though?
I think he dropped back down to get it.
That would be surprising.
Because he ends up,
why doesn't he get killed? You know,
yeah,
he's got 20 health, but and he would have had to like hit the ladder to not die. But that's surprising. The aim was on point with the Tech 9s as well in the entries, but the really difficult part for Immortals is they basically were forced to play retake because they had 1 op inner. He didn't get the kill. He decided to fall back, which is smart, but then they're forced to play retake, and that's when they get tested. And as a team that hasn't practiced retakes together, like that's going to be really hard.
Well, Ethan starts it off well for CLG. They still have to look for Zach, but it's going to be FNS that finds that. Unfortunately, he doesn't expect to see 2, so Bolts will quickly trade that kill back out, looking for 2 himself. Not going to get it. Kusta sees the push from Destiny coming from a mile away, so it's a quick takedown to eliminate him. Bolts, he will move in up the ramp now to try and pinch, and SHZ will rotate to the outer site. But Bolts might be in for a little bit of trouble, as Ethan is going to molly the top side, so it should prevent him from diving in to chase these guys down. And that basically just leaves SHZ alone out on this outer site right now. He has no support, no additional teammates to rely on to kind of anchor him here. And ultimately, yeah, Bolts is going to push down, but he actually comes out on top. He strikes that, gets the kill. He just shoots the AK away, so he has to fall back to him awkwardly a little bit there, and then dies afterwards. So it's still CLG that control the situation coming out of the first half as they lead it 10-5. Stick with us, folks, and we'll find out in just a couple of moments if there's any hope for Immortals at all to come back, or if it'll be a quick 2-0 to start off the night.
ESL Pro League is brought to you in part by Intel, the City of Odense, GeForce GTX, Lenovo Legion, Bedway, Pay Safeguard, Logitech G, Mountain Dew League, Xfinity, and ESEA.
And we are back again, ladies and gentlemen, here to the ESL Pro League. The Immortals taking on CLG, and it's this new Immortals roster trying to get themselves together to at least play off their matches. Unfortunately, things are not going well. It's a new team. They're playing on some pretty complex maps here. Cobblestone, they do try to win it out there, but it doesn't go too well. And here on Train, they're suffering from some of the same issues as they are down 5-10 to start off the second map.
Yeah, after the first half, you know, Immortals really got to look in the mirror and say, man's not hot.
Fresh meme. I like it. Keeping it topical.
But yeah, overall, like CLG looked great. They did everything right. They went fast. They went slow. They took their anti-ecos. They threw a lot of change-ups in there. They did IV control, which I love to see. And Immortals had some responses, but they really put them to the test as a team. And even when they did have the correct responses, they, you know, gave them 40 seconds of hell before entering the site. And sometimes it resulted in the round being over before the execute even actually took place. And sometimes it was just the late round hits that ended up working out. Also, CLG's aim looked really good too. Cutler, Kusta, FNS, everyone was actually on point. So a lot of good things going for CLG right now, even though Immortals are not in the best place ever. Yeah,
and they get to this great divisive scoreline here now. It's where if they can win the pistol and not, you know, mess up the following rounds here, they can get a nice like 13-5 lead right off the start to set themselves up. And it does look like, guys, you can see the in-game screen going monochrome there, that I believe it is time to start our second half. Let's jump into it. It's CLG now on the CT side, and Immortals jumping onto the T side to start things off.
See what they do in their first pistol round, or the second pistol round, I should say. Kusta is going to be Kit Smoke, and that means that they're probably going to try to play like Retake In or something like that. No one's actually going to have. I would like to see, if you're going to do Kit Smoke, someone just get Molotov. You don't need this much armor with the new update. So Molotov, huge for retakes, also huge for denying the plant in the first place. And if they throw a smoke, it's like a counter to that smoke, because the Molotov will, the smoke won't last long enough that the Molotov will be able to flush them out of any spots. And here, yeah, we can see the smoke down the ramp. So I wonder how this is going to take place. Or the smoke, I should say, that could go down the ramp.
Yeah, CLG have already quite a heavy presence established towards inner, however, with both Ethan and Kusta playing towards that. So that does seem to scare Immortals off a little bit when they posture towards it. So instead, Well, this is interesting. A 4-man walkout from ladder room, and they get a smoke to support it too from their one player that's going to come in from T-Con. It's actually a really nice adjustment on the fly they're going to be able to make here, but oh, nicely found. Cutler with 2 on his own coming out from the Ivy tunnel there. That was the one area they really didn't have covered, so he's able to strike nicely. They trade FNS, but now Ricky coming back in. I think he's playing for Heaven potentially here now. He's going to be able to take down SHZ, and yeah, playing up on top there. It takes quite a bit of damage, so he does have to hide himself, and we do see Cutler finally going down to the hands of Steel, but Bolts is being pelted, but Steel still fragging out here. Now evens the equation, brings it down to a 2v2. Bolts and Steel both trying to push up. Kusta with a wide swing takes down Steel, leaving only Bolts in this fight. He's going to try to stay in it as long as he can. He does only have 30 seconds left to go for that plant. And CLG, I think, is working on a plan to make sure that he can't get much further, as they put Kusta up in Heaven here now. For Bolts as he pushes forward. He does detect Kusta in Heaven there, but he himself now one-shotable. Ethan will be able to swing out, finish the job, and secure it for CLG.
So they didn't flash properly, which is the issue for them. Like with Cutler here at Ivy, he had like line of sight the entire time. He was basically never blind and was able to do so much damage. That smoke, that play is actually common, and like it makes sense if you send everyone down ladder. You don't really have to worry about the other choke points, so you can go with less utility. But now with this, like the update and the less of a need for having armor in the first place, having an extra smoke at Ivy would have made a world of difference for them coming out ladder. There were basically no spots that the CTs could stand in and have free reign over like all the fights they wanted.
Quick flashes going out here now, as Immortals are going to look to try and get themselves into Ivy early on. Flash won't do much justice, however, as the counter smoke still comes in from CLG anyway. And that'll be FNS looking to hold things as he tosses in an 8, does about 40 damage total to 2 different players.
Yeah, good impact. And 4 people with armor. You're almost always going to have buys in the situations like this. They've got to make something happen. They know that. And it's funny, this Ivy smoke being kind of used like a long control smoke on overpass, where they're just using it just to get up, and from here are just going to try to explode. But FNS throws a wrench in the plants early.
As they move in, Destiny, he's going to be able to strike back there, taking down Cutler. Steel, okay. Hey,
What?
No. Oh.
Come on. What was that?
He gets that double kill without even being detected. And now CLG are going to turn this around. They at least have the bombs under their control, so they're not completely out of this just yet. And obviously the 2v1 too. But Steel pushing up. If he just goes right up the tunnel, his first fight would be against FNS. That's going to be relatively easy to win. He's only at 20 HP. So CLG are smart to group up these remaining 2 players. And Ethan, well, backs out of that fight. Actually, he's going to swing across so we can play with FNS there, just so they have the best chance of winning this here now. And they'll throw out their own smoke. It's actually a good job there. He's going to pop flash over top of it. And he's picked up a molly here, too, to try and utilize. And no, he goes in, finishes off FNS. It's Ethan winning on the other side, but Steel makes the mistake of jumping, and that's going to allow Ethan to still win it for CLG.
Why jump in that situation? Could have fallen back through the smoke. Would have had this exit, guys. I think he had some time to plant, but instead tries to end the round early. But, oh, man, I was a medium key hoping he won that round, because that would have been so silly. They had a great round. CLG had a great round leading up to that, and then he was in ladder. I think Ricky got his spot exposed because he got spammed in smoke by his own teammate, and then both of them died because of that. So that was definitely very silly. But either way, CLG win the round. They've also got another round to make up for the fact that they lost so many people last round on this full eco from Immortals.
And this calls for their full save here, as they are going to cycle their players to the back of the B site. Molly goes down, Cutler goes in. It's about 125 damage right there, taking down Zach and bringing Destiny to 74. Ricky's going to come up from the backside. He already finds 2 there as well. There is still 1 player sitting on the outside of this area here, but Ricky, I think, suspects something like that. So he actually throws the smoke down on top of the ladder room and then dives away to make sure that he can stay alive. They do need kind of a clean round here because of all the shenanigans that happened on the last round. So the smoke is a good job to make sure that he keeps Ricky alive. And for Steel, as he swings out, ultimately, he'll be swinging into his death if he doesn't watch out as he goes in. He does actually spot Ethan there, tries to headshot him, but no luck. Ethan will win it out, and CLG go up to that 13-5 scoreline.
Easy cleanup. The flank came out. That's all you need to know. CLG, critical territory. 13 rounds. They need 3 to win. They've got all the Molotovs. Immortals know they're going up against a fully kitted team, but the other thing is that because CLG didn't lose any people, it's very common to not upgrade guns like UMPs. Immortals realize that, okay, this is kind of a 2-tier beast. We can kill them, and it might be an easier round to win, but they're also going to have enough money for another buy, so they've got to really gear up for the long haul. But I guess that goes without saying, considering the round deficit at the end of the day anyway.
And with these players being split up as they are here too, and basically just a default. We do have to wonder where exactly Immortals are going to take this, but with the current split, could actually lend itself to probably be towards outside here, as we would generally tend to expect. It's just about how exactly they want to initiate with that somewhat limited utility, as they've already used a little bit of it here, but with the remaining smokes and mollies, probably going to use it to try and get some clearance on outside. The spam going in, trying to connect onto Ethan, but it does not really hit. Knocks off about 20 HP. That's nothing major, though. Ethan, as you can see, is still patiently here, waiting it out. He pushes in against the smoke, tries to spam through the floor, and will miss, but so does that flashbang. And now, oh no, catches him switching guns. So Steel is going to be able to get that first entry going for a seam here. As the rest push forward, FNS is going to move up, trying to get that trade, but the problem is that's right when the T-Con push is coming back out. The timing of this is just not working out for CLG at all right now. So they're down to 2 players, both of them from the B side as well. So they might as well just save at this point, as Immortals more than likely already have this round on their hands.
Yeah, something like that. If they had opportunities for kills, they might want to go for them. Still taking a lot of damage here, and turns from the flash, well timed by Cutler. They made it very difficult. Now he recovers a gun. They aren't going to continue looking for any kills at that point, it seems. Kusa's actually in here and gets the frag. Do they want to chase? All they're doing is giving up 8Ks for UMPs. Is that a good deal? It's a scam, if you ask me. I don't think they should do it. The cost to the benefit to consequence far outweighs the good for Immortals, who now are down to 2 people after having such a clean exec outside.
Kusta in a rough spot there. You can see him trying to jump out of there. But yeah, Destiny does take him down. So they eventually drop those guns, but it's a pretty big trade. It wasn't just the guns, too. Both of those guys had full utility, I believe. So they had, Marley, smoke, and 2 flashbangs between the 2 of them. So that was, that's an extra like $1,000 or so right there. It's getting dropped as well.
Yeah, so you can see that Steel did his best job to try to dodge that flash and fight Cutler. So if you do have good timing, there is ways to get down ladder by yourself and make it at least difficult for the team, anyone to deal with you. People have been standing in that spot as well very often, so throwing that nade down helped as on top of everything else. But Immortals moving out here, and after spending a lot of money, are moving into another buy round where they still have a good chance to win, but really do need to do it cleanly, and are starting to push up Ivy very quickly.
Around the bend, as they push up quickly, Zach finds himself safety instead of this cubby at the end of it. But the problem is he's going to be alone. He's not have his teammate with him, but still it works out okay, as he's able to get the first kill. SHZ is, that is. And now Kusa's going to be able to swing. Gets a second, but again, not watching these alternate angles. It's really killing CLG right now. They keep it together, and the trades work out so that it's an even fight at least. But Immortals did battle this back after CLG started off with a bit of an advantage to play off of. Now Steel is going to lurk up here towards Z. See if he can get himself an easy kill onto one of these players. And oh, he might as well just get that, actually, as they're moving in. They do great damage to Cutler. They have no clue that Steel is sitting below here, so he's able to line the shot up there. And Ethan will be able to trade that, but he's low. Brings us into a really even 1v1 with low HP on both of those players. Destiny still going to push up, looking for the plant. Ethan's ready for it. He pops off his head, winning it for CLG.
Doesn't care that he's low. Hits him right in the face. Nice. Well done. So that's a really good round from CLG. I actually like how they approached the retake on Ivy, even though it was kind of sloppy. It was just like good timing. So they had them boxed in. They knew that they were pushing up pretty quickly. You could tell by the way that they smoked up from like halfway up Ivy. So the Molly in response is like, all right, we're stopping them, but they're probably going to try to take this right after. So instead of kind of sitting back, they actually attack it while they're in a very dangerous spot. I really appreciate that.
FNS, okay, just going to walk right up inside the ladder for 1-2, tries to go for 3, but Bolts does trade it back there with a good time to the drop down there. Sure that FNS is not going to be able to complete the triple kill, and they still have some ability to trade this back out, but Bolts is caught just walking right out. Cutler has a nice little spot and sandwich to get a double kill himself, and there you go. CLG quickly shutting down that aggressive push from the Immortals and putting themselves up on the map point.
The CTs are going to have the advantage if you don't go for T-Con control early to spot the push-in. If you want to go down ladder fast, you run the risk of somebody from the CT side with a good spawn jumping into ladder and being able to kill people as they jump down. And if you want to throw a flash or something like that, you're delaying your spawn even further. And from there, you might think, well, why don't we just do the double mollies at the bottom of it? Or just hope that they aren't playing there, and that's what they did. They just hoped.
Destiny is once again going to try his luck here, too, with a quick push outside, and SHZ is caught. Pushing those white holes due to the aggressive play from CLG in the back B site. FNS finds Destiny, trying to work his way through Speedway there. FNS takes down Zach. It's already just 2 left remaining here for the Immortals now. They do have some semblance of a smoke set up here on the outside near the train, so they can at least push their way in here. Steel, however, has already gone down, and now it's just Bolts. And he's right outside of T-Con. Tries to survive, but will not happen. Ethan takes him down, and that'll seal the deal for CLG, who takes control of map number 2. The final score, I believe, 16-6, and that will give them a 2-0 for the evening as well against the Immortals here.
Well deserved, and I'm looking forward to seeing them playing like other more solid teams, because from there we saw a lot of great solid fundamentals, but you're going to look even better when you play a team that's a little bit discombobulated or in a bad place, and playing with new players and stuff like that, all those reasons. But we have seen them play a better team and do really well already, so kind of curious to see for the rest of their matches in Pro League how well they're going to do.
It looks like we have the analysts ready to break down this series. Let's send it over to them.
Yeah, I don't know that we were quite ready, but thank you, Blue, very much nonetheless. Anyway, guys, quite a matchup here on Train. What do we see?
We saw Immortals not use an op as often as the team would use an op on CT side Train. When they did get the op the first time, they did decently, and just stuff like that. CLG seemed to have the map figured out in terms of the dynamics. Like you would see them, attacking the outside bomb site from all three entrances, and you would notice that they were obviously calming well because you could see guys, peaking at the right time. So
yeah, and on CLG, I think they did what we expected them to do. They played, most of the late rounds, knowing they didn't have an op, knowing that Immortal setups aren't really battle tested yet, and they're kind of just playing loose. So Immortals did a good job just letting some of the rounds play out, letting Immortals waste some of the utilities, and simply maybe just doing some outside splits. Almost akin to what Launders, how he talked about the anti-eco rounds in his video. They were kind of playing some of the gun rounds like that.
So would you say that Immortals' approach on this map was, CLG's approach on this map was kind of with that in mind, with it in mind that Immortals might not have it as well drawn out? Did you see things that kind of showed that they were trying to attack that aspect of it?
I think it's as simple as if you ever see a team and they don't have their starting five, even just simply a coach playing, your immediate kind of realization is we don't need to overextend with the strats. Keep it simple, play our game, and let them make mistakes. So.
Well, 16-6 was the scoreline, and I think there's even a case to be made here in terms of what they can do in terms of aggressiveness. Let's take a look now at round number 6.
So yeah, I thought this was a funny round, right? Because you see, I don't know who it is behind the E-box. I'm not trying to point fingers, but it was really funny how long it took that T player to swing wide on the guy bomb train, right? They knew they had him outnumbered. It was almost I don't want to die, but I know this is a favorable angle to take, and he kept slowly inching out to his right, and we're going to see it again here from another location, right? So we had the third person point of view above the bomb train, and now we're going to see it, actual point of view. It's kind of funny to watch. Yeah. It's you kind of have to know when to put the pedal on.
And I remember this. It was a 4v2 actually prior, right? So CLG should have had a pretty easy chance in this round. Look at these guys dancing here at the bomb train. 10 seconds left. Swings around Zach with a massive double kill. Coach showing that he's got more to do than just talk about the strategy.
Yeah.
He's bringing the pain there. So it's cool to see him get involved in that round. Was one where that was kind of a summary of the whole match right there. Immortals, if they were going to win a round, it was kind of a scramble.
And that's a good way of putting it.
And yeah, it came down to the wire.
Well, I think you'd even noted that the scoreline wasn't indicative to the actual match itself. It was very, well, I guess it was in some lights.
And this one more so than Cobble, probably, yeah.
Well,
what was my prediction, by the way? 16-6.
Marcus.
How did it go? Oh yeah, all right, sweet.
Yeah, it sounded.
I was on point.
But that was you yesterday. You had all four of them.
Yesterday I did well. Today you're doing a good job. Either way, we're all together in this, and we're together with you guys making predictions to help you understand
and appreciate what's going on.
And appreciate it, to be honest, because there are so many dynamics to Counter-Strike, which I think makes the sport and the game fun on its own, because you don't realize how many subtleties. There's a coach playing, this happens, that happens, why does this happen?
Well,
I like talking about
that's why I love having you here. You know all the little things.
Okay, Jordan, then tell me this. Immortals didn't grab an op till about round 13. Let's pull up round 13, and why? What happened?
Well, I don't know if they just literally didn't talk about it yet, but, op is inherently strong in a map like Train. Around like this, solid normal play, get a rifle and ladder, etc. I think Bolts is just floating around, kind of as I talked, would be good at their opper. He gets a couple frags. Well, the TK there. It's a good defense by SHZ and Destiny, showing their chemistry from previous rosters. But just having that op presence on Bolts, I think only one guy goes down from Immortals this round. And it just kind of goes to show that, with an op is nice to have it. It frees up those riflers to play close and not have to worry about the rotation as much. But
that's a huge part of the round, right?
Yeah,
because they did a smoke exec.
They did a smoke exec, and they wouldn't have maybe been able to get those frags close in ladder room and close on teammate if they didn't have that op comfort in the back. But then I think we see the following round.
Well, yeah, we go from one op to double op and then just slaughter. So let's load up round 14 now, which is, the subsequent round.
Yeah, it's funny. We're talking about how, they did a good job with the op, and now they have a double op, and they're against pistols, significantly less firepower. And, like, how does Ricky not die there, right? But he gets a lot of good information, right? That if they had exec enter there without Ricky finding out somebody was in ladder and then getting this kill, that flank could have been huge, right?
So I think this just kind of plays back into what I was talking about and the whole theme of this, which is Immortals, they have the right ideas, but when you don't have practice with the roster, who would know? Who would know? Like with a week of practice, maybe with the double op setup, they have the rotation down. So when they see those smokes, maybe they just don't die early. Steel doesn't feel the need to flank ladder because there's not as much desperation in their setup, and it's a complete difference of setup. So even though they did the fun things starting right, having the right weapons, they still didn't have the right game plan and the right rotation. So that's how important that practice and preparation is.
I mean, that's a really hard round regardless, right? Like, let's say that somebody execs inner with pistols and you had a really passive inner hold and you need to retake with double op and the pistols are up close playing those annoying angles around the trains. Like, that's that's hard to deal with two ops regardless.
Yeah, you're gonna get swarmed, and if you don't hit your shots, you're gonna lose that round faster than you think.
Well, that's not a problem with you because you always hit your shots. So.
I haven't missed a shot since 04.
Start it from the bottom.
Most of the time we lost in C9, it's because of like we had to lose some games to seem normal.
Just to keep
I'd pull
keep
out
the simulation
nades.
going.
I would pull out nades and die with nades out because if I had my gun out, what fun is winning that easily? It's just like.
You gotta have a storyline.
Yeah, you don't want to.
You don't want to be the Yankees.
Yeah, you don't want to be accused of any vac stuff either. That kind of gets a little messy. Yeah. That whole weighted mouse thing. Anyway, nonetheless, so we do see Cobble and Train wrap up there. Interestingly enough to note, yet again, we did have some roster changes over there on the Immortals, and by some I mean predominantly the whole team. So, on top of that, they had to play with Zach tonight, which was probably not their first choice, but that's just the way the travel and all it broke down. That's kind of the approach they had to take. So closing thoughts on this matchup, though. I mean, is this Immortals lineup here to stay? Are we going to see any sort of change forward going into this?
Yeah, I would say like what I've been thinking about the whole time is just the lack of op makes me think that Horvey is going to be an opper. Right, like the fact that they were so hesitant to op.
Can the Brazilian team give us some insight? If you guys watch Brazilian CS and you think Horvey is going to be an opper, send us a tweet at ESL CS, and it'd be fun to find out if that's actually what's going to happen. Because, like you said, I think the match we kind of predicted this. I said 1-1, but I knew as well 2-0. You said the 2-0.
Yeah.
I think Cobble was a lot closer than the score might show. I think that initial. T side Immortals could have, if they had pistol and like one more gun round, they could have won the half 8-7, and then their comeback has a whole different meaning and comfort and pillowing. So definitely not too indicative of the future of Immortals. We're curious to see what Horvey's role is going to be, and overall from CLG continuing this slow up what's the term? Upward trajectory, and I'm looking forward to see how they do this without I'm a pet. It's cool to see.
I think they can go into the Twitch stream at youtube.com/ESLCS and also tell us, right?
Not the Twitch, but the YouTube
stream, right? They can actually type to us there and tell us about the opping of Horvey.
We can. That's right. So. youtube.com/ESLCS. You can grab this VOD, the last VOD. And more importantly, see some shining faces in these two, not so much.
Oh, I'm using it the whole time. During the cast, like if I want to see something in the past rounds, I'm actually rewinding back, and that's something that YouTube allows you to do.
That's a feature, really cool. Yeah, that's certainly a feature you can do at youtube.com/ESLCS. Wait, where can you watch the VODs again?
YouTube.com/ESLCS.
All right, outstanding. Look, guys, we're going to be going into Liquid and NRG next on 2 maps, so let me get some quick initial thoughts here.
I mean, Liquid on paper, stronger. NRG is the Bulgarian powerhouse Cirque gonna bring the op and open some rounds up?
Yeah, do we know what maps there are?
Yes, but we're gonna leave a little bit of suspense there. We're gonna go to a quick break, and when we come back, we're gonna break this thing down for you before we get into it.